All right, so welcome to this Infinity Training. Again, this morning we talked at the Powerhouse about this book by Og Mandino. It's called The Greatest Salesman in the World. This probably is one of the best-selling sales books of all time. It was written in the 60s by this guy named Og Mandino. Imagine going through life and your name is Og. That's a weird, I don't know anybody named Og, but I guess at least it makes it unique and memorable. I've never been able to forget his name. So how many of you have read this, who I can see? Has anybody read it? Okay. It's really simple. Look how thick it is. Very slim, my kind of book. One of the things I remember when I first met Mike Chenault, we were in college together. When I first met Mike Chenault, somehow we started talking about books that we'd read. And I think maybe the only book that we'd ever read was The Old Man and the Sea. And we'd both read that book. One of the reasons we had read it because it's about this thick, right? This book is, let's see if it has page numbers. It's so thin. Oh, it does have page numbers. It is 111 pages. So I challenge you to try to read this thing. And when I got it, I read it in one day. Now, here's the thing. The author actually says, don't read it like that. He says, read up to chapter 8, and then starting at chapter 8 through, I guess, chapter 18, take those chapters and reread them every day for 1 month. Because the magic of this book is about some stuff that is on scrolls. Like these scrolls are, I think they're like like principles or truths or whatever that the author has determined that are super valuable principles in life and certainly in selling. So basically, this book is a guy named Hafid or Hafad or something, and talks a little bit about how he was exposed to big thinking and sales points and whatever else, and gets these 10 scrolls revealed to him. And I sent those topics to you in the email. And what we're going to do today is just talk about number one. Okay. So number one is I will form good habits and become their slave. All right. So let's think about what that means. So what is a habit? Can someone on this call actually jump in and tell me a good definition of what a habit is?
Brushing your teeth every day.
That is an example of a great habit, Chris. And because your office is right next to mine, I'm glad that you do that. Okay. So why is that? But what is a habit? So why is that a habit? Do you have to think about brushing your teeth every day?
No.
Not really.
Something that's done repetitively.
Do you have to get a note card out and look at the notes on how you're going to brush your teeth? Do you watch, for those millennials in here, do you watch a YouTube video on how to brush your teeth before you brush your teeth every day? Answer to that, I would hope not. Okay, I would hope not. It is something because you have done it with such great repetition that over time, you don't really even have to think about it. In fact, if you don't do it, you like an alarm goes off and you find yourself fretting over the fact that you hadn't done it, right? Right? Okay, that brushing your teeth is a good habit. What's a bad habit? So a bad habit is the same basic innate desire to do something, but it may not have a positive effect like brushing your teeth. Brushing your teeth is good because it's healthy for your teeth. You don't, your breath doesn't reek, and whatever, you kill germs, and maybe it's healthy for your whole body, right? So it's a pretty much, I think we'd all agree that's a good thing. All right, so we'll just use the greatest example of bad habit would be smoking. Maybe some of you guys smoke. I've never smoked, but I can sort of get it. My mother smoked, and my mom would light cigarettes and wouldn't even think about lighting cigarettes. I mean, she would wake up and have to light a cigarette, and she would pretty much smoke all day. And she really didn't think about it. She just smoked. You get that? Like for me, a bad habit that I have is in the morning, I wind up going to McDonald's, and I see this is empty because I drank this Diet Coke, right? That probably is not the world's greatest habit. I love the taste of it, and I do it, but this is probably not an example of a great habit. Before I do that, though, I get up usually sometime like 4:46 a.m., sometimes now 5 a.m., somewhere in between that area. I get up, I do some affirmations, play with my dog for a minute, and then I go to the gym. All right. And I do cardio, I do lifting, and I do swimming 5 days a week. Okay. Is that a good habit? And just like brushing my teeth, if I don't do it, I feel like shit. I don't like the way I'm thinking. I don't like the way I feel. And so I'm fretting over it, and it gives me desire to go back and do that. Okay. So there's just a little bit about habits. So what the book says, the first scroll says, I will form good habits and become their slave. So as a real estate agent, as a salesperson, all right, you have to think of a couple different categories. There are habits that you need to form that are going to lay the groundwork for you to do your job. And then there are habits that you need to form that are related to activities that will help you to become successful in real estate, that you need to form habits to perform those activities. You understand what I'm talking about? So, like, is sleeping in, or let's say, rewind even further, is getting hammered every night, sleeping in, wandering into work whenever, and just moping around feeling like crap all day, is that a good way to lay the groundwork for a successful career in real estate?
No.
Okay, so that would be a bad habit. That would be a bad habit. Not to say that I have never been there, okay? Not consistently, but there have been days when I have done something to myself that did not allow me to perform at the highest level in the next day. Okay, that makes me human. But if you look at how many days, somebody multiply 300 and let's see, been doing this 26 years. So let's say I work about 300 days a year times 26. So in the 7,800 days that I have come and done this, I would say that it's probably been maybe 10 to 20 where maybe I would have done better to just turn around and go home. Okay. Whoops. Sorry there. Hold on. Somebody's trying to get in the meeting here. So, but the other days, the other 7,770, I have tried to put myself in a position to succeed. So what are the habits you need to do, you need to perform in order, or to become a slave to, in order to be successful in real estate? Number one, you got to look back and say, hey, I need to get enough sleep the night before in order for me to have the energy to perform the day of. That makes sense, right? I mean, do you think, like, Mike Ferry was just talking about Tom Brady. Do you think Tom Brady is the kind of guy that, now, not that all athletes are this way, because some of them do stupid stuff, but do you think Tom Brady went out and partied the night before the Super Bowl?
No.
No. In fact, Tom Brady was on such a, I mean, the guy's 42 years old. Or isn't he 42 or 43? Whatever. Very young guy. So at that age, you can't fool around with this at all. I mean, he's taken like the entire season, like him and what's the guy for the Saints, Drew Brees. I mean, they're on a strict diet. They're doing all sorts of stuff. They are not goofing around during the season. Now, you saw Tom after the Super Bowl. Did he have a couple pops and throw the trophy to Gronk? And okay, that's fine. Okay. Not to say that at some point you can't take a day off, but then you got to be able to get back to your habits. Do you think just because Tom Brady got drunk and threw the trophy and ran around on the boat and all that, do you think that's the way he's going to approach next season? Not at all. And you've got to have you got to have like a routine that starts the day before, to where you are getting a sleep and getting enough sleep, waking up, getting some exercise, getting your head straight, having a plan, and going forward. Okay, so that's before you even begin working. You understand that? So that's the agents. Let me tell you a little story. So when I was first in the business, 1995, Mike Chenault convinced me to get in this business. Started working, and it was about 6 months. Another agent who's still in the business, Chad C. He has his own company, Chad C. I was doing a deal with Chad C. And he said, dude, you should go down and see this guy, Mike Ferry, in Florida, as a seminar. I'm like, yeah, okay. And then I met another agent whose name was Joel Ragusa. And he said, man, you need to go down and see Mike Ferry. And these were guys I respected in the business. So I went by myself, flew an airplane, Orlando, Florida. And I was starting to do some deals and feeling good about my career. And I was also maybe getting a little out of shape because I was working all the time. I wasn't eating right. So I said, this would be a good chance for me to do something a little bit different and start exercising again. So I called and said, what time's the gym open? And they said, 5 o'clock. I said, all right, boom. I haven't been awake at 5 o'clock in quite some time, unless maybe I never went to bed. Then I was awake at 5 o'clock, but I said, I'm going to go to sleep. I'm going to get up at 5 o'clock. Get down to there, like 5 minutes to 5, there's 20 people waiting to get in the gym. I'm like, this is weird. Maybe this is some kind of fitness convention going on at the same hotel along with the real estate convention. So anyway, I wait, they open the door, in we go. So I'm doing my thing, lifting weights, doing some cardio, thinking about getting back in shape. And then go home, go eat a little breakfast, go down to the seminar, sit in like the third row, and there's 1,000 people in the room. And Mike Ferry is getting everybody pumped up. And he says, all right, I'm going to have up on stage, I'm going to have the 10 best agents in our whole organization. And here they are, and everybody's clapping. I'm like, I know that dude. Saw that dude. Guess where I'd seen him? In them at 5 a.m. I'm like, holy shit. Hold on. Best agents in the world, gym at 5 o'clock. Maybe I'm on to something. Now, there's more to it than that. You can't just go, but there's certain habits that successful people have. Hey, if it's working for them, maybe I should try that and maybe it'll work for me. You see that? So that was something that was like an aha for me. And I'm like, I'm going to model that behavior, and I'm going to have a morning routine that starts with that every day. So again, you don't need to be Jim or Jane Jupiter to be successful in real estate. But I can tell you, if you're in some kind of shape, if you go in the morning and you get moving and your endorphins get flowing in your body, that is better than not doing that. I can just take that from me. All right. Mike Ferry, on this last thing we were doing, he's talking about blind faith. Have some blind faith, take it from me. I could be in a lot better shape than I'm in, but there are a lot of people that are 55 that are in not as good shape. And I feel like by the time most people are waking up and getting in the game, I am in the high gear. I'm rolling, okay, where everybody else is just waking up. So again, I will form good habits and become a slave and become their slave. So when the alarm goes off, I don't dick around. The alarm goes off, I get up, put my feet on the floor, go to the bathroom, get ready, and I'm going. I'm doing it, okay? That's when it's a habit, all right? What other habits do you need to form? Well, a lot of the most successful agents in the world, they have a routine where they do something beforehand, like we were just talking about, but they're going to get to the office at a consistent time, okay? Now, you may work at home, you may be afraid of COVID, you may have whatever the reasons are, but you can still engage and start participating in the real estate business, whether you're home, at your office, or whatever it is, at a consistent time. And I think that's very important. I'm not saying don't ever take any time off. I'm not saying don't take vacation. Don't call Mike Chenault and say I just said work all the time. But when you're going to work, you need to be consistent with what you're going to do. Okay. Here's another one that most people don't like. You can look at this, except for Chris, if you can see everybody in here. Okay. I 99% of the time when I'm working in real estate, I look like somebody who is a professional. I can't do much about this, like my looks and my receding hair, whatever, but I can put on this, which is a respectable shirt. I can put on this, which is a tie, and I can try to look, somewhat professional. All right. And I think that is a habit that I have formed. And sometimes you can get out of that habit. I mean, sometimes I'll just, like one day I just don't put on a tie, and the next thing you know, I don't. Now, when it's real hot, maybe it's a little bit different situation. But dressing professionally is a habit that you can form. And I think there's a lot of benefits, which are a whole nother topic. Okay. So then once you get going at work, what are some activities? All right. What are some habits of activities that you can participate in real estate that you would say are good? Somebody just fire out, give me something that you could actually do, an activity you can engage in that might be good for you as a real estate agent once you're starting your workday.
Calls and notes.
Calls and notes, that's two. But yes, calls, you could actually reach out to somebody, talk to them, and eventually ask them for business or referrals. That is good. Handwritten note, you could write a note. you could have a note card and you could write one of these babies and you could send it to somebody. And why is this good? Because it's rare. People don't get these all the time. Handwritten note means that you care. So if you show people you care, that's positive. What else could you do?
Look at your market share, as in knowing what's hitting the market, what's pending, what's sold.
Okay. Yeah, you could review the market. That's different than looking at your market share, but you could review the market and educate yourself as to what is on the market, new to the market, what has recently sold, what has recently gone under contract, and in a normal market, what has expired, what's been released, etc. So that's great. Educating yourself on the market. What else could you do?
Write a schedule or a to-do list for the day.
Okay. The best time to do that, Brett, and I'm glad you brought that up, but the best time to do that, Brett, is actually the day before. The one of the most organized people that I know is Todd Rogers. Do any of you guys know Todd Rogers? All right. If you don't know Todd Rogers, you should get to know Todd Rogers. An incredible guy, even though he went to Randolph-Macon College. I will give him a pass on that. Okay. Otherwise, first class dude. One of the most incredibly productive people that I've ever met. So Todd, the night before, always makes a list of what he needs to do the next day. Okay. If you know other really hyper productive people, they do, a lot of people do that, right? I mean, people that just wing it, are usually not as productive and efficient during their day. Okay. It's very difficult for me, for some reason, to do the list and to stay on that. But when I do it and try, my day is much better than when I don't. Okay, so that is a great suggestion. Brett gets a golf clap for that one. What are some other things you might do? What habits you could form to become more productive and reach your goals in real estate? Could you educate and train yourself, not just only in the market, but on your skills? Yeah, here's another one no one likes to talk about. What about practice? Craig and I'm sure Jake is listening. My team just participated in this Mike Ferry training thing I said, but he talked about practice. He gave us a great quote that came from a professional golfer whose name is, what's the guy from Williamsburg?
Curtis
Strange. So he was playing golf with Curtis Strange in a pro-am, and at the end, he's like, "Hey, let's go get something to eat." And he's like, "Well, Mike, did you miss any shots today?" Mike's like, "Yeah, I missed a bunch." He goes, "Well, yeah, I missed one too on the 7th hole." He goes, "I'm going to go back and practice that shot for about an hour, and then we can go get something to eat." The point is, and Mike Ferry said this best, he said, professionals practice, amateurs don't. Okay. And there's no business where it holds true greater than in the real estate business. Most people want to just wing it. Once they've maybe practiced something one time, they go for it. But most agents don't even rehearse their listing presentations before they go on a listing presentation. Okay. Most agents go in and totally wing these presentations. How much is a listing presentation? How much is the average listing presentation worth?
$6,000.
How much, Chris?
$6,500.
It's going to be worth somewhere between 5,000. It'd be hard to do one for less than 5,000. And I mean, it could be worth $20,000, right? Or even more.
Right.
So let me ask you this. So Brett, I'll pick on you because you look like a kind of guy now that you've put yourself in the corner, it looks like. If I were going to pay you $15,000 to come give a speech to, let's say, Hometown Realty or a big group, right? $15,000. What would you do?
Write it out ahead of time. Practice it.
So you wouldn't just show up and wing it.
Right.
What would happen if you just showed up and winged it? Would I be excited about paying you for that?
No.
Would our agents throw rotten tomatoes and eggs at you more than likely?
It's possible.
Yeah. So is that what you want to have happen at your listing presentation? Yeah, especially when you're new. Like if you haven't, I mean, I probably need to practice more than I do, but I've done it. I don't know, 10,000, 5,000, I don't even know how many times, but thousands of times. And you guys, for most of you, you haven't ever done it, or you've only done it a few times. So wouldn't it make sense to rehearse it? Couldn't you, Brett, go and sit with Elizabeth, and she could pretend she's the seller and you could pretend you're the listing agent, and you could go through it? Would that be valuable for both of you? Hell yes, it would. Right? She could say, well, wow, that's pretty awesome. Is it cool maybe if I said that in my next listing presentation? And no matter what you said, because it's not copyrighted, she can do whatever the hell she wants to do. But that's pretty cool. And then you might say something, she's like, whoa, hold time out. Never say that. Okay, that sucked. All right. And then so that's how you do it. And she might say, you know what, that was a great point. What if you said it this way? And you're like, man, Elizabeth, you're a genius. So you can share and everybody benefits. Is it so competitive that everything we do needs to be secretive? No, there's thousands, even in a tight market, there's thousands of homes that are going to sell, right? So we just got to get what we can get. But more than likely, the people that Brett's talking to are different than the people that Craig's talking to and whoever. So it's okay. It's okay to share. The point is, professionals practice and amateurs don't. So what do you want to be? What do you want to be? The average real estate agent closes like 2.5 transactions a year in Richmond, Virginia. I'm not sure that you're going to get everything you want in life with that kind of income, unfortunately. All right. So that's a habit. Practicing could become a habit. The best thing that ever happened to me, once I went down and got involved with Mike Ferry, is I hired a coach. And one of the things we did every day was when I talked to the coach, which was once a week, is we rehearsed and role played the scripts, Mike Ferry scripts. Okay, so I was able to internalize those, and now they're second nature. I mean, even after 20 years, it's over 20 years. They're in my head. I can't forget them. It's like a song, right? Anybody? I mean, how often do you driving down the road, you listen to the radio, and it's a song you haven't heard in years, and you know every single damn word?
Listen to a training.
Because you rehearsed it, because when you were in the shower, you singing it, and whatever, and you're doing whatever. So that's just how you got to do it. Somehow you got to figure out how to internalize your presentations by practicing over and over and over again. All right, what are some other great habits that you could form as far as the activities? Nobody said one of Brian Buffini's favorite. What does he like to do? Not plop by, but
Pop by.
pop by, right? So that's going to see people. All right, if you could get in the habit of going to see someone every day, or you could get in the habit of going to see 4 people every Friday, or whatever it might be, but form a habit. All right, back to why I'm not the greatest example of this, but I at least have one great pop by habit, and that is every Thanksgiving, I go out and I deliver a ton of apple pies to people in my database. Last year, I think I did 90, and then people on the team, we wound up doing, I don't know, Craig, what do we do? Like 400 and some pies.
Something like that.
Okay. So here's another thing I like is like, if no one else is doing it, either it's really stupid or it's really good. Okay. So like with pies, how many people brought you a pie at Thanksgiving? I didn't get any. Well, I ate one while I was driving around in my car, but I brought that one to myself. No one other than me brought me a pie this year. All right. Do I like pie? Yes. Is a pie the greatest gift I've ever received? No. But, it's different. It's unique. It shows that I care. So, again, but my habit is doing that once a year. I just do a giant pop by thing. Probably be better if I did 3 a week. Okay. Or I could do the one in Thanksgiving and then do some throughout the year. Okay. But those are the kind of habits. So without going through every single damn thing we could talk about is forming a habit, here's the bottom line. When it comes to forming a habit, a good habit, the best thing to do is start one at a time. Think about a habit that is not doing you right. Okay. So like if your habit is hitting the snooze button, okay. So then what you want to do is not do the bad one and then do something good with that. So I can not hit the snooze button, and then instead of that, I'm going to have my feet hit the floor. All right. How I learned that is have the alarm clock in the other room, so my wife would beat the crap out of me if I just let it ring. So she's good at letting it go off like twice. So I literally have to put my feet on the floor and haul ass to the bathroom and turn off the alarm. And then once I'm there, I'm like, I'm not getting back in the bed. I'm good, right? So that's just an example. Maybe your thing is when you get to the office, you just dilly-dally around for a half hour before, or maybe all day before you ever get to doing any profitable activities. Well, the solution to that is decide when you're going to be there, get an accountability partner to hold you accountable to it, and then say, here are the things I'm going to do. Don't start with 20. Just say, all right, here's the thing I'm going to do. I'm going to write 5 notes and I'm going to make 5 phone calls. And if the whole day goes to shit up, excuse my French, if the whole day goes to hell after that, then so be it. But at least I got that done. And that's a habit I'm going to do. How long does it take to form a habit? Just depends. Just depends, but at least 21 days. So it's not something that happens. If you do it once, you can't say, hell yeah, I got that down, I'm moving on. So build it like that, but build it on good things, and great things will happen for you. So again, I will form good habits and become their slave. Okay, slavery, you know, it's bad. We're not supposed to talk about that, but you understand what that means. I mean, so if you're a slave to good habits, that's a good thing, right? You want to be in chains to your good habits, right? That you just cannot, they're so ingrained in you that you can't get away from them. And then the results will come. If one of your habits was talking to 20 people a day about buying and selling real estate, if you just did that consistently, and that was, you were enslaved to that, trust me, great things are going to happen for you. It's going to suck some days, right? It's going to suck some days. Some days you're not going to feel like it. But listen to this, the feeling or the perception of pain that you have in your brain about doing whatever it is has got to be outweighed by the euphoria that you know you're going to feel when you get to your goal. You understand that? So the pain is here now, like, this is really hard. This hurts my finger to dial the phone. I don't feel like it, you know, whatever. But here's the thing. I love whatever I want, you know. I love the feeling of not being on the financial roller coaster. I love the fact that we can take a great vacation. I love the fact that I can give money to the church or whatever it is for you. That's where you got to focus. And once you can, like Mike Ferry says, once you can connect the dots between those activities and getting what you want, then it's sort of easy, right? But there will be days when you don't feel like it, and everyone else quits, everyone else stops, everyone else complains and bitches. You got to be different. So that's pretty much it. That's the number one thing. So I will form good habits and become their slave. What kind of questions do you have for me? And then we will try to answer them.
Mike was talking the other day in Powerhouse about time blocking. Do you time block, Deane? And how's the best way to set that up?
Yeah, so time blocking, you have to understand that being on a schedule, like I'm here in Ashland, so we have Amtrak, right? And they're on a pretty strict schedule, right? In real estate, it's difficult to stay on an exact schedule, except for first thing in the morning. You know, so what I try to do is have a real schedule first thing in the morning, and then sort of time block after that. So time blocking to me means I've got, like the Todd Rogers style, I've got whatever I have down here. All right, and I'm going to look at that and I'm going to say, okay, I need to get these 3 or 4 things done before 11 o'clock in the morning. Right? So let's say that I know I need to write 5 notes, and I know I want to talk to so and so, and then I know I want to reach out to 5 people in my database. All right, my time block for that is going to be, say, from 9 o'clock to 11 o'clock. I got to get that done. Does that make sense? And then in the afternoon, I'm going to try to do some lead follow up, and I'm going to do whatever. I'm going to watch a YouTube video on objection handling or training, you know, some kind of training and whatever else. And I'm going to get that done, say from 1:15 to 3, and then I'm moving on. Versus trying to say, all right, at 8 o'clock, I'm going to open the door to my office. At 8:01, I'm going to sit down in the chair. You know, things come up. And by time blocking, at least my definition of time blocking, you give yourself a little bit of flexibility, but all the while knowing you still got to get stuff done. All right. Discipline is challenging. That's why the real world is set up different than the real estate world. The real world, you have a boss and you have a schedule and you have the ability to get fired if you don't do what you do or what you're supposed to do. Here, I mean, nobody's going to fire you unless you fire yourself. You know, you've got to have the discipline to do what you know needs to be done. And the successful agents, that's what separates the big shots from the nobodies, is even when they know no one's watching, they still get it done. You know, and you got to be able to look at yourself at the end of the day and say, did I get it done? And not even every day. Every day, it's okay. If you have a bad day, that's all right. You can't have 2 bad days in a row. You know, Buffini says you got to get like if you're going to work 5 days, let's try to get 3 good ones. And if you have 2 that don't go so well, that's all right. If you got 4 weeks in a month, make it 3 out of 4. You know, if there's months, if you get 12 months in a year, try to get, 6 or 7 months out of the year to be on check plus. Does that help you, Beth Ann?
Yes, thank you. I just didn't know how specific you would get with,
Well, I will tell you this, that for better or for worse in my career, it evolves, right? As you're in different stages of the business. When you start out and you really have nothing going on, it's easier to be on a strict schedule.
True.
So I mean, my thing was prospecting. Like I was a big cold caller. People say, oh, don't cold call because, the do not call list. The jails are full of people that have violated the do not call list. So I'm not telling you, of course, I would never tell you to break the law. I'm just telling you what I did. And then the other thing is door knocking. So my favorite places to door knock were places that had a big sign that said no solicitation. Now, I'm not recommending for you to do that. I would never say that. Right? But a guy told me one time, he said, you know what no soliciting means? I said, I think so. It means you're not supposed to do it. He goes, no, that Joe Shepard is the only one knocking on these doors. Okay. So you got to think out of the box. I'm not saying do anything illegal, but you got to think out of the box and you got to do something. Mike Ferry says his theme for the year is participation. If you can, not like getting a participation trophy, like an award for just being around, but actually getting in the game, actually doing something, engage, taking action. That's it. So when you're time blocking or when you're scheduling, Beth Ann, it's got to be, are these things going to help me get towards my goals?
Right.
And if that's the answer, then yes. And then allow yourself a little bit of flexibility so that you don't get frustrated and throw the whole thing away. But whatever works for you, continue to do it. And if it isn't working, change. Any other questions? All right. Without further ado, I certainly appreciate you being here. I can speak for the other majority partners of the company, Todd, Mike, Rodney, and the junior partners we have, all the management. We're here to help you. So if you have a question, reach out. Don't drown without wailing. If you're in the pool and you're drowning, you're going to be wailing or whatever else. Reach out. It's our responsibility to try to help you. Ultimately, you got to help yourself, but it is our responsibility to try to help you. So if you need anything, call me at 244-1022. If not, I hope to see you around, and hopefully we can get out of this COVID crap and have a party and get to know each other a little bit better. See ya.